everyone. My name's Elizabeth. I'm a careers consultant here at the university. I would like to welcome you to Edinburgh, particularly on behalf of the careers service, everybody at the careers service. We're going to be talking this morning for about 20-25 minutes about working in the UK, and I suspect you've got lots of questions. I'll do what I can to take questions as we go along, but I should say probably more likely you'll find me on the stand outside after this morning, so if you've got any questions, please come and speak to me then. Okay, so, lift up a bit?
That's what I was going to try.
Do I need to be a pop star? Hold on, guys.
Can you guys in the back here?
Can everyone hear me all right? Yeah? Yeah? Great, thank you. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about this morning briefly is exploring options of working whilst you're studying. Can I just get a show of hands who's interested in finding a part-time job while they're here? Yeah, okay, so we'll focus on that. Also, it'd be quite helpful to find out, again, show of hands, who's here studying an undergraduate degree? Okay, who is a visiting student for a semester or two? Okay, a few of you. And who's here for a master's or a postgrad? Okay, all right, okay, good. So we're going to be talking about finding part-time jobs. Is anybody interested in getting some volunteer experience while they're here? Okay, yeah, we can talk about that as well. Internships or summer work or vacation work experience, all right. Is anybody interested in finding out about graduate recruitment, i.e. staying here and working in the UK after your course? Okay, a few of you. We'll do everything we can to get through that. We'll be probably touching on things quite lightly, but what I'm going to make sure is that firstly, the slides are going to be available on the website afterwards, the student website afterwards, but also that you know where you can find further support. So the careers service is here for all students of the university, whether you're undergraduate, postgraduate, visiting student, and we are open every day. We've got two bases. So for those of you who are studying in the George Square or the central campus, we've got a base over at the main library building. I don't know if you've encountered that yet. It's the other side of George Square. We're on the 3rd floor there. And we've also got a base down at King's Buildings. I'll bring the addresses up later on. So for those of you who are science engineering students perhaps, or even if you just are going to be based down there to live, we've got a department down there as well. So, I'm going to touch on this very lightly because you're already interested in studying, working in the UK or volunteering. But I suspect for a lot of you, it might be just about getting some money while you're here, and that's obviously understandable. But you'll probably be aware as well that there's lots of benefits and in working, whether it's part-time or volunteering while you're here. Employers, and we've got UK employers really value experiences outside of academic study, but I'd say employers around the world value those experiences. And it does give you a chance to develop further skills while you're here and a student. For those of you for whom English is not your first language, I know there's a session on that today as well about developing your English language, but working while you're here is a great way to do that too. And you may meet new people, well I should think you will meet new people while working or volunteering here. So there's lots of benefits to do it. I'm going to touch on eligibility to work part-time. I should say at the careers service, we can't give any advice on visas. That would be the international office that help you with that. However, here's a few basic points. For those of you who are not from the European Union, you should be eligible to work part-time while you're here. Most of you will be, but just check your passport. And if you've got any questions, speak to the international office. So they're based at 33 Buccleuch Place. If you're eligible to work, you can work for up to 20 hours, according to your passport. However, the university does recommend that you don't work more than 15 hours per week in your part-time work, purely because, obviously, you're here to study, and the academic requirements are high. And we also want you to, enjoy yourselves, do other things while you're here, have a break, make sure you have a chance to rest. So we say no more than 15 hours. It's obviously a personal decision. Anybody here from Croatia? Yes, somebody? Okay, well, I don't want to pick on anyone, just to say that you'll need to obtain the form CR1 and again speak to the international office about that. Not picking on anybody though. Okay, there are a few things you can't do while you're here. So you can't be self-employed. This is international student. I should clarify a difference between international and students from the European Union or the EEA. So for those of you who are outside the EEA, you can't be self-employed. You can't be employed as a professional sports person or sports coach, just in case anyone was thinking of that, or be employed as an entertainer or take a permanent full-time job while you're a student. If you're from the EEA, there's no restrictions. Okay, so how can the Careers Service support you? In a number of ways. We have specific workshops on finding part-time work. So where we go into depth about the websites that you can use, typical employers, how we in the Careers Service can support you in both finding work and applying for it. So one thing I think a lot of people find quite beneficial about what we do is give feedback, for example, on a CV, a resume, or an application form if you're applying for part-time work. We can help you with interviews. So if you're going for interviews, you can have practice interviews with us at the Careers Service. You can have individual appointments just to talk about your job search strategy, or if you're having difficulty finding work. I should say this time of year, whether you're a new student or you're a student returning to Edinburgh, there's a lot of people who are about to start looking for part-time work around this time of year. So sometimes it can take a little bit of time. There's a database, My Career Hub, which you'll access through the Careers Service website. The address is at the bottom of the slide there. My Career Hub is where we advertise all sorts of different jobs, including lots of part-time work. And we've got a team at the Careers Service who work very hard to source those jobs and advertise them on the database. But I should say that lots of students are looking at that database. So jobs are posted every day and they go very quickly. I don't want to put people off, but just to say that that is at this time of year, there's lots of people looking. So you might need to expand your search. And if you need some help with that, please come in and talk to us at the Careers Service. I'll talk to you in a minute about how you can do that. But these workshops are a good place to start. Just starting next week and then the week after that. So if you just make a note, the first one's just for postgraduate students. Okay, so this is My Career Hub. It's a brand new database we've got at the Careers Service. We're quite excited about it. That's where you'll find part-time jobs advertised. We make sure, so on your behalf, we ensure they're suitable for students. We work very carefully to make sure that you're not going to be taken advantage of. It's a kind of an appropriate job and a responsible employer. We will only advertise jobs that are 15 hours a week maximum. We'll make sure they pay the national minimum wage. We make sure they're student friendly. And if you have got any concerns about an employer or a job that you see advertised somewhere else, for example, on a website or in a newspaper, or just if you see an advert somewhere, you can always come and speak to us if you've got any concerns about that job. We don't advertise voluntary positions in the Careers Service. Those go through USA, which is the student association, who you may have encountered already. They advertise all the voluntary positions around Edinburgh. Again, though, if you're applying for those kind of positions and you want some support in writing a cover letter or a CV, please again come and speak to us. Or if you just want to speak to us about volunteering in general, that's still something we can support you with. What's going on? Okay. I want to introduce something called the Edinburgh Award. So if you are going to be working while you're here or volunteering while you're here, something that you can become involved in is called the Edinburgh Award. This is a scheme for students here at the university which encourages you and helps you to make the most out of your experience. So you can get involved with the Edinburgh Award if you're working part-time. There's one called the Work Experience Award. There's one for the Volunteering Award, and there's also various other schemes as well, various other versions of the Edinburgh Award. What you do is, in addition to having your experience, you do a little bit of extra work on top of that. You attend some sessions, you get some support in talking about what you're doing and how you might, for example, sell that to a future employer. And you get recognition from the university. So you get an addition on your extended transcript, you get a certificate, you get invited to a award ceremony for all the students who received that. So it's a nice way of saying perhaps to a future employer that you've got this additional experience and that you've really got involved with something while you're here. It's really fantastic. Students really value it. So I'd encourage you, if you are going to be doing that, to have a look at the Edinburgh Award website and find out a bit more about it. I've mentioned that it's competitive to find part-time work, and as I say, I don't say that to put you off. I would say by and large, people who are looking for work will find it if they're persistent, and also if they take advantage of the support available to them. So if you can be flexible in the type of work you will accept and the location, that will help. I appreciate, of course, you may have choices about the kind of work that you want to do, and it's good to shoot for those, but being flexible is obviously going to increase your chances. You definitely want to make a good application, and that is something we can definitely support you with. If you go onto our website, you'll see guidance on application forms, CVs, etc. But as I've already said, you can bring them into the career service and get feedback on those, and you can have practice interviews with us as well. It will certainly help, again, for those of you for whom English isn't your native language, it is important to try and get that up to speed as much as possible and as soon as possible. One thing we can't do at the career service is kind of proofread in terms of, for those of you for whom you don't speak English as a first language, we can't proofread from that perspective, but we can give you feedback on how good an application is and the kind of impression, I suppose, that you're making on employers. You might want to be prepared to make speculative inquiries, and what we mean by that is you going out and speaking to shops, restaurants or other employers and asking if there's work available rather than waiting for people to advertise on My Career Hub. Again, that's something we can help you do. So again, come in and speak to us. And be prepared to build skills in other ways as well. While you're here at the university, and I'm sure you're going to hear from lots of other people who will mention this, but it's such a vibrant university. There's so many students who do all sorts of fascinating things while they're here, whether it's sports or societies. We mentioned volunteering. Do try to get involved as much as possible. And if there isn't a society for something you want to do, then set it up yourself. It's a fantastic experience available. I really encourage you to get involved and develop your skills. Make use of the careers service. There's a number of things that we do, again, to support you in the ways that are just kind of specific to international students. Those of you who have not been in the UK before might not be aware of the national insurance number that you need to work while you're here. You'll all get one, there's no problem with that. But just to make it easier for you, we've actually got 2 days where you can come into the careers service and get it set up quite easily rather than going through it on your own. So if you come into the careers service in the MLB, that's the main library building over the other side of George Square, either the 14th and 15th of October or the 25th of September. So 3 separate days there between 9:30 and 3:30. There's no appointment booking, so it's just a question of coming and waiting your turn, but it doesn't normally take very long. So Job Centre Plus are the people who organise national insurance numbers. If you come in, you can just get it all set up there. If you look on our website for further details about that as well. Okay. A few of you put up your hands and mentioned you might be interested in working in the UK while you're after your studies, so applying for graduate jobs. I'm not going to go into that in too much depth other than to say, particularly for those of you who are also master's students and thinking about that, that now is the time to think about it. So if you're either into your final year or you're a master's student, you need to be thinking very, very early on about applying for those jobs. They're open already. A lot of them are open now for applications, and some of them close early November, December. We haven't got time, and I don't think there was too many people in the audience who particularly wanted to focus on that. So what I would say is if you've got particular questions, come up and speak to me on the stand outside or book an appointment at the careers service. Okay. It says here, think about what you want to do and why. And by that I mean thinking about what you want to do at university or after university and why. It is important, obviously, to think about your future career, and that's something we can support you with as well. Whether or not you're thinking of staying in the UK, going back to your home countries, going somewhere else entirely, if you're starting to have those questions about, but what do I do afterwards, come in and speak to us. We do quite a lot of support with students who can book individual appointments to think about those big questions and get some support with them. You can, of course, look for vacancies, graduate level vacancies and internships as well on My Career Hub. The Careers Service website is also a good place to start. We've got information on thousands of different careers and employers on there. It's a good place to start your research, but you're also very welcome just to pop into the Careers Service, either in the main library building or down at Weir building. We've got extensive information in there. We've got professional information advisors who can help you find information on anything, I would say. They're very, very skilled. And one thing that we do as the career services, we've got good links with career services around the UK and internationally as well. So while we may not have the information in our heads about a specific country or a specific employer or a specific job, we can help you find the people who do have that information. So ask us anything. It may take us a while to track it down, but we will help you. We have, again, specific resources for international students on our website. The address is at the bottom there. So that's got information about working in different countries around the world, working in the UK. So again, specific information around things like what a CV in the UK tends to look like, what an interview in the UK is like, where you can look for work. We've got information on studying internationally, returning home, i.e. to your home countries. And there's a blog I'd encourage you to follow as well. So my colleague Kirsten keeps a blog specifically for international students, and that's definitely worth following. Again, you'll find that by going to the website there. So I've mentioned us a number of times. You can come in and see us. Either just pop in. You don't need an appointment, just to pop in and see the service and speak to one of my colleagues. But if you'd like an individual appointment, we offer them every day. We have 20-minute appointments which you can book via My Career Hub. And we also offer longer appointments as well by referral. So if 20 minutes isn't enough to get your answer or to support you, then of course you're welcome to come in for a longer appointment. And there's no limit on how many times you can use the career service. We offer a number of talks. If you go onto My Career Hub, you'll see a list of the events we have coming up this semester. So we have specific talks on aspects of the application process, like writing CVs, going for interviews. Lots of employers and organizations, and lots of international organizations as well, come onto campus to talk to students. It's worth having a look at the events list to see if there's any you're interested in meeting. They're around and about from the next kind of month or two onwards. We also have the Careers Fair in October, details of which are on My Career Hub. We have a 2-day Careers Fair, which is visited by hundreds of different employers. We also have what we call the 3rd day of the fair, which focuses more on not-for-profit organizations, international development, voluntary work, things like that. So worth keeping an eye on the website for details about that too. So, I've got to have a great year, but for however long you're here at university, really, really hope you have a fantastic time here. You're so welcome to come and see us at any point in your studies. And for 2 years afterwards as well, you can come and use the career service if you're still here in Edinburgh. Those are our 2 addresses there, our 2 locations and our website address. I've got a couple of minutes if anyone's got any quick questions now. If not, you can find me outside on the careers stand. Does anyone want to ask anything? Yes. So the question there is, when we're talking about self-employment, if that's freelancing as well. Yes, I believe so. You need to double check that with the international office, but I think so, yeah. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you very much for coming along. Come and see me outside if you'd like to.